Titans Camp Live again on a Saturday for the fourth day in a row before the Titans have an off day from training camp on Sunday. And then Sam and I will be back out here on Monday morning for day 5 of Titans training camp. But A to Z Sports Titans Camp Live with Austin Stanley, Sam Phalen, our new Titans reporter for A to Z Sports here on a Saturday just afternoon. Recapping today, we'll lead off talking about Robert Woods, Bobby Trees making the play of the day, and really a day that was mostly about the defense bouncing back after the offense had a good day on Friday. So we'll go through the defense's bounce back, including Roger McCreary making a nice play, and I talked to him after practice as well for a short moment, so we'll talk about that. And then we will go into a theme of practice as well of the offense looking a little sloppy. There's some teaching moments in this, so we'll dive into what Mike Vrabel thought about his offensive sloppiness on day 4. But all of these Titans Camp Live segments are presented by Buddy Allen Carpet One on Lebanon Pike in Donaldson. Whatever you need, new floors, new carpets, new whatever, you got to go to BuddyAllenCarpet1.com because it's locally owned and operated by the Allen family for over 55 years. Zach, Jenna, and Judson in the store literally every day at BuddyAllenCarpet1.com. So Sam, Bobby Trees, no doubt the play of the day. Take us through it.
Play of the day, and it was from Ryan Tannehill on a deep ball down the left side. Some might say he mossed Caleb Farley. I don't know if that is the term we want to go with, but it was exceptional.
Sometimes moss is on trees, so moss Bobby Trees. I think
maybe
it works.
Maybe we have a new phrase here, a little new nickname brewing here. But no, Robert Woods, tremendous ball hawking and ball tracking ability, a great adjustment to the football, like you said, and it was put in a good spot by Ryan Tannehill. But to see him running at full speed in 11 on 11s there, and then just making a play down the field, adjusting to the ball, really exciting stuff. Makes you feel like Robert Woods is going to be ready to go maybe week 1. That's what we've been saying, but he's making an impact immediately and getting way more comfortable in the Titans offense already.
And it was a play because it was the ball wasn't it was a well-thrown ball by Tannehill, because I think it's one of those things where you see the veteran wide receiver down the field who looks covered.
Yep.
And Caleb Farley's got length and, whether it's height or overall arm length and size over Woods. It looks like that's something you shouldn't throw, but I think that's an example of Ryan Tannehill saying, I trust Robert Woods to go make this play for me. And Robert Woods, with the savviness and the route craftiness, being able to, without making too much contact, slide around Caleb Farley to make a nice play and then continue running by Farley after the catch for what could have been a touchdown in that situation. But Caleb Farley, that's not a bad play.
No.
He was in the right position, but it's just literally veteran versus basically a rookie, right?
Yeah, Caleb Farley had a good day too. We noted a couple pass breakups and 1-on-1s and then 7-on-7 towards the sideline. He had a really good day and used his length. He had 2 interceptions earlier in the week, and people have just noted he has so much arm length to get around some of these receivers. But going off of what you said too, I think it's Ryan Tannehill showing that he knows Robert Woods.
Yeah.
Additionally to trusting Robert Woods, he knows where to put that football for Woods already. And the Tannehill-Bobby Trees connection is alive and well in Titans training camp, and a pleasure to have that on display in front of the fans here as well.
Yeah. And so I did see Rise Above say, is Traylon Burks looking legit, or is Roger McCreary struggling versus Burks? That Burks is cooking him. Look, again, what did we say about one-on-one wide receiver DBs yesterday?
It inherently favors the offense,
yes.
And especially when you've got that big of a size difference. And I would contest there was a little bit of a push off there. That was just a tough matchup for McCreary, but we like the way he bounced back. We talked about that yesterday, closing speed. And we were actually going to talk about Roger McCreary for the exceptional day he had today and some of the few plays he made. One of them, Austin, coming against Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Yeah, NWI looked like he beat McCreary down the field. But then McCreary, as the ball was falling right over the shoulder, a really nicely thrown pass. I'm not sure which Titans quarterback threw it, but it was coming right over the shoulder of NWI in the end zone. And McCreary was able to get his hand right where it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Without contact, so no pass interference, no nothing that an official could look at to throw a flag. McCreary puts his hand in there, disrupts what could have been a touchdown catch for NWI, and that's exactly what we've seen and heard about Roger McCreary. It's that he's not the tallest. He's short, 5'10". I think that's short for most people and when you're talking about an NFL player, but he's got the athleticism and the competitiveness to close.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's the play you saw yesterday in the bubble where maybe Burks did get a push off to create some separation, McCreary's closing speed is really impressive. He got beat initially by NWI, but it didn't matter. And I was talking to McCreary after practice as well, and Buck and I were, Buck asked him about trail technique, where sometimes the technique of the corner is to play behind the receiver because it allows for that type of play where you can stick your hand in there to pass, to get a pass break up right the last second. And that's exactly what McCreary did in that play to break up a touchdown from NWI.
Everybody on the Titans has been super complimentary of Roger McCreary and, talking about his mentality, bulldog mentality, despite the lack of size, where he doesn't give an inch, he doesn't give a pound up to anybody. He goes at him hard and he uses his body as much as he can. He's a good downfield tackler. He has closing speed, all for a guy of his size. Shows that that's repeatable. That's just solid fundamentals and solid mentality. I do want to get to a comment. Okay. Up there, just scroll up just a little bit. It was Ken saying ACL tear versus ACL tear, going back to the Robert Woods, Caleb Farley thing. Yeah. Good to see them both competing. We 100% echo that statement and looking forward to seeing them competing next week, Austin, because we got the news from Mike Vrabel after practice today. Pads come on Monday, full contact. Well, mostly full contact on Monday, but he said pads and contact would not limit the participation or the competition that they expect to see out of both Woods and Farley next week.
Yeah, and I think Vrabel's been asked about that. Robert Woods been asked about that. Does your mentality change when the pads are on about protecting your knee? And, there was a comment or a question towards Vrabel yesterday. I forget who asked it, but asking Vrabel with extra push and pulling and torque because there's pads on there. Do you want to protect somebody who's coming back from a knee surgery that might have to, plant their legs a little bit differently or have a different style of force against them this early on in the recovery? But it doesn't seem like Robert Woods and Caleb Farley will be held back at all from that. One injury update, and it kind of ties in Roger McCreary too, is that we got the video at A to Z Sports on Twitter yesterday of Elijah Molden in a tip drill, stumbling over the turf in the bubble, hobbled, something going on with his right leg. You can't really tell if it's an ankle, foot, knee, or anything else, but he left practice after that rep Friday. He did not practice today, which led to Roger McCreary getting extra opportunity in the slot.
Yeah, Molden didn't see him coming after Buster Screen retires. It's just kind of another hit to the depth. So, maybe an ankle injury, not really sure what's going on. No diagnosis yet from the Titans, but going to keep looking out for him. You want to see him back. You can't afford this defensive unit to get hurt again. We've seen this story, right? And Molden's a guy that, especially in the slot, you want him to be out there, but McCreary so far doing a good job of filling in when given the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think Molden and McCreary fit that prototype of slot corner who's got the physicality with some quick shiftiness, but also has enough long speed to play the position with a deep route. A to Z Sports here, Titans Camp Live. Sam Phalen, Austin Stanley here with you guys after Saturday's practice. There was a key teaching moment for Mike Vrabel after practice today, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But all of our Titans Camp Live shows are brought to you by Buddy Allen Carpet One. Check them out simply going to buddyallencarpet1.com. Locally owned and operated by the Allen family for over 55 years. Zach, Jenna, and Judson, they're in the store every day. Here's something: you often forget your floors are even there. You might be suffering from what Buddy Allen Carpet One calls floor boredom. Well, you can go to buddyallencarpet1.com and let them conquer that floor boredom with a gorgeous kid-proof, pet-proof, waterproof flooring from your home. I had a hot water heater burst in my house last month. We were worried about the floors. If we didn't act as quickly enough on it, we might have to be calling Buddy Allen Carpet One. But buddyallencarpet1.com can solve and cure the floor boredom for you. They're buddyallencarpet1.com. So the teaching moment, Sam, is that today's practice had some sloppy moments. There was a bad snap. Ben Jones wasn't out there today at center, so Daniel Munyer, who is notorious for having errant snaps in training camp. You'll learn that pretty quick. That's a thing that happens when Ben Jones is not here. But a bad snap to Ryan Tannehill caused a fumble between Tannehill and Henry with a handoff exchange. Amani Hooker picks it up and goes back for a touchdown. And then a fumble by Dontrell Hilliard. Just some overall sloppiness from the offense today.
Yeah, and some sloppiness, but like you said, the Hilliard thing. We had our first scuffle of training camp as well. Not the offense's day, and we kind of saw it from early on in one-on-ones, how successful the wide receivers were going against the DBs yesterday. Compared to today, it felt like the secondary was winning a lot more of those battles, and Mike Vrabel talked about it after, just you have to clean it up. Turnovers were something that killed this offense last year, and early on so far, looking like the defense is wreaking a little bit of havoc. He gave a little speech to the offensive line after the scuffle between, I believe it was Nate Davis and Jeffrey Simmons went at it. And he said, look, the second guy is going to be the guy that gets the flag thrown on him every time. So he's preaching that, trying to clean this stuff up. And hopefully as the preseason games going on, the offense is a little bit more efficient. You can't be giving the football over to the defense. And that's something that I know Vrabel has been preaching, despite wanting the defense to be aggressive in causing those turnovers. So I guess that is the spin zone of it. And the optimistic side is that you're making a turnover for your offense, but of course that means your defense is forcing some good pressure.
Well, and that's kind of the plan, because whenever the Titans are working on individual position drills, a lot of time you're spending a lot of time with the wide receivers.
Yeah.
The last couple of days I've spent some time with the DBs, and I was watching the defensive backs. They would pair off. And it would, for example, Kevin Byard was paired with Amani Hooker. Amani Hooker had the ball. He would point the ball out, and Byard would mirror it with his hand, attacking the football with his hand to punch something out. And so you're seeing those individual drills come out and actually be effective. And so, a lot of times turnovers are luck in the NFL.
Yep.
But if you practice these type of things, maybe you can start to really ramp up the amount of turnovers you can force. But at the same time, you got to protect the football on that side. So,
Xavier says we need a little scuffle every now and then. How do you feel about that? I agree. I think that breeds competition right here. If you're not having scuffle in practice, you guys might not be going hard enough. So I like to see it as long as everybody's staying healthy. And I liked Austin teammates in there right away, clearing that thing out. And I mean, not a huge deal today, but you like to see guys going at it. And I expect that to continue once the real hitting starts with pads. We're not even hitting each other yet.
Exactly.
And we're already going at it.
Yeah, there's no pads out here until Monday, which is great. But yeah, it was diffused very, very quickly. And I don't expect that to happen that often with this Titans team. I did see Eric said the Bills ended practice early today because Josh Allen got in a scuffle. I haven't seen anything there. Just haven't been looking around the league yet. But yeah, that's that happens around the NFL, and the Titans and Mike Vrabel do a pretty good job of limiting those situations over the last several years with Vrabel as head coach. But that's today's Titans Camp Live. Appreciate it as always. Sunday is an off day. Monday morning, you'll see Zach and I react to the last 4 days of Titans training camp. Buck Rising will be live, A to Z Sports Primetime Sunday night. And then Sam and I will be back out here Monday afternoon with another Titans Camp Live, presented, Trevor, by Buddy Allen Carpet One. So, Trevor, pay attention. BuddyAllenCarpet1.com for your new flooring. And we'll see you guys on Monday. Appreciate it as always. Have a good rest of your weekend. Thanks.